Hello and welcome to the Two Guys One Cup round 12 tips. The start of the bye round, Will, which means less footy for us to ignore the weekend. Ignore but still make outlandish claims over. I feel more confident after last round's upsets. I feel more confident tipping 7 days out than I've ever felt before.
Oh, look, I mean, it's certainly not going to affect our chances, let's be honest. What the fuck do we know? On the rare occasions when it feels like we know, I feel more uncomfortable in those weeks when you think, hang on, are we learning too much about football? Are we getting too much good football knowledge? Is that going to ruin the very essence of our podcast and our tips, what people look for from us? So, no, I like it. I like that it's introduced this element of, like, in fact, I think we should probably just do the next 3 weeks. Let's tip all of the bye rounds.
We'll tip right up until finals. Okay, first game is on Friday night. It's the Demons taking on the Blues at the MCG. I know Melbourne's sort of struggling and Carlton clearly is struggling, but I think you'd be disappointed to get less than 50,000 to this game. Friday night, 2 potential finals teams. Come on, Blue Baggers. Come on,
Melbourne fans. Like, they're the ones who aren't turning up, even though their team is a lot better than Carlton. Carlton teams are turning up for, at least half to 3/4 of the game. So,
yell and scream.
I think Melbourne is still a pretty good team, and I think Carlton, unfortunately, are not a very good team at the moment.
Carlton potentially with no Cripps either. They had a bunch of injuries come out of that loss to Sydney. Melbourne. But, okay, let's just stop for a second. Let's just imagine for a moment the Carlton win. What are the ramifications for that for both clubs? Because Melbourne are looking wobbly, especially for a second premiership. They're definitely looking wobbly. Is it kind of like ground shaking if they lose to the Blues?
Yes, but they will not. I mean, there's nothing I would enjoy more than Carlton beating Melbourne on a Friday night. Are you kidding me? I'm not even doing a show this Friday night. I could sit and watch it live. I would love nothing more than this to be the week that the Blues have the unexpected victory that breathes a little life into their season. But it is not going to happen. Melbourne are going to win.
Yeah, I think Melbourne are going to win that game too. Moving on to Saturday, Port Adelaide, who are now on a winning streak of 8 games in a row, and it's
by the
only
way,
going to continue.
They should get Snapper, the Carlton fan, down to the game.
3AW Snapper.
And let him do ground announcement. Just hand him the mic.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man, my dad would be covering all these games. I wasn't even there for the birth of my first child because I was at...
Get Snapper and his dad on the microphone doing ground announcements.
Port Adelaide hosting the Hawks. Now, it just
Hawks
feels
are
on
better
paper,
than
it feels...
Hawks are better than people think, though.
They are. It's kind of annoying because you can sort of see the foundations of another fucking three-peat just coming soon. They've got really good key tools like Kajitsky and the other fella, the other big fella.
Mitch
Lewis.
Mitch Lewis.
Yeah, and they've got that Ned dude who's really tall. And
Sicily got 40 touches on the
Sicily
weekend.
was unbelievable. 22 intercept possessions, 43 touches in total for a centre-half back.
And all their good, young sort of midfielders
Brockman,
seem like they're going to be good players.
Hawthorn have had to endure 4.5 years of not playing finals.
Those 3 weeks of tanking, though, weren't they glorious years?
I know. Didn't Damien Barrett write an article at the start of the year, which is Hawthorn should be investigated for tanking or some shit?
Because they should be, because they're terrible at it. They keep winning.
I can't see them winning this game, though.
No.
Just put Adelaide at home too strong. There'll be a few teams who beat them from now on at Amy Stadium.
I agree.
All right. Later on at Optus Stadium.
You know what I'm going to say about the Port Adelaide Hawthorn game? That Hawthorn are toast because they are going to be cleaned up by Butters.
Oh, boo. Boo, Anthony Hudson. Okay, well, if I said the best team in the league and the worst team we're going to play each other, who would you say that would be?
I was going to say the worst team is easy. The West Coast Eagles are the worst team in the competition. The best team in the competition, I believe, are probably the Collingwood Magpies.
Well, they are taking each other on over in the West on Saturday afternoon. Collingwood, who they're sort of reassimilating a few players after injury, they could have done a number on the Roos, but then to me it felt like, they had an extra gear, but they just chose not to go there because they're like, we can beat the Roos by 5 goals in second. If they decide that they want to flex their muscles against the Eagles, 10-goal victory?
I don't think that they will want to flex their muscles. I feel like this is
because it's a road trip, too much travel, fires coming up,
and I think that Collingwood, they don't need to be that team. I think they just need to trot along, and so they will trot along, and they will absolutely win this game. But they won't. It won't be like a 20.
They won't risk anyone. They're not rushing Steele back or anything like that. Still side bottom. Okay, Saturday night, the bloody Saturday night Bulldogs taking on the Cats at Marvel Stadium. Cats versus Dogs. Hopefully it's raining goals.
Well, hopefully it's raining goals because the roof will be on. So if it's raining, we won't care one way or the other. So, look. I mean,
Don't say danger game. Don't say danger game.
You'd hope being at Marvel and the Cats not having a midfield and our midfield being our strengths, that this would be a win for the Bulldogs. You would hope the Bulldogs would win this, I would think.
I would think so. Danger's still not in, I imagine. Well, we don't know. Because
it's a no-danger game. That's what it is.
Good. Good one. I'm interested to see who Radaglia goes to. Aaron Norton?
He might be... I believe, was he
injured too?
Injured as well? Radaglia, maybe?
Who would you send him to, though? You send him to Lob, who's the
I love that we're
option.
speculating on injuries, by the way, on the Monday morning when we're recording these games.
The game's not for 6 days. But do you send Radaglia to Lob or to Norton?
If I were them, you send your best... I'd be saying that you send him to Lob and you play off Lob, probably, is what you do with Radaglia. You don't put that hard, Norton style, tag on Radaglia. But I don't think he's playing, regardless.
All right. Bulldogs for me in this game. Then the last game on Saturday night, playing 5 minutes after the start of the Bulldogs game, is the Suns, still in Darwin, taking on the Adelaide Crows. This could be match of the round. And
wow.
We haven't seen the Suns do this yet, where they have got everyone excited after a brilliant victory and they've backed it up the following week. They just haven't done it yet. They have to do it this week against the red-hot Adelaide Crows, who we know are vulnerable on the road. It'd be a good game, though. Fuck, this would be a crack. And there's also the Isaac Rankin
good game
element. And I think that, because there's skills on both these teams, there'll be a small forwards bloody masterclass, this one, between these two sides.
You know what this game's going to be, Charlie?
What?
Sweaty.
Yeah.
It's so sweaty.
So sweaty. Shave off your big Zimmerman Moes if you've got one.
Not going to be a night
you'll
for
be very
hairy
uncomfortable.
people. Which of these two teams is the hairiest, do you believe? Because this is going to be... I mean, I love...
Tex Walker's going to have to shave his. That's what I'm saying.
The Suns in Darwin... is good for the competition, I think. I could see them playing 4 games a year in Darwin. So I think this is a big, important game for the Suns, their finals aspiration, a big, important day for, I would say, just them having somewhere they could actually call their... I think in the same way as Canberra have really actually adopted GWS, I think that they could do the same with Darwin and
they
the
could
Suns.
win the hearts and the minds of all those fans in the Northern Territory, even some neutrals. I just can't tip them because they never win. They just never win. So I'm going to tip the Crows.
And I'm going to tip the Suns, and that's my...
Lock of the week. All right, let's move over to Sunday where the Giants are hosting the Tigers. Still buzzing after their victory at the Cattery. Coming up against Richmond, where the emotion now has gone out of Dimmer leaving. It's just now about getting some games into the youngsters. This is a good chance for the Giants to go 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Or do the Tigers? Do they have something? I don't know. You can't, because you just don't know who the Tigers are now. They've lost their identity with losing their coach. So I'm going to say the Giants. I'm going to say they're on a... They've played okay this year, where the Tigers' form has been much more up and down. So just on the form of the year, I'm going to say the Giants.
I'm going to say the Giants also.
And then the last game is Podcast Mike's Bombers hosting North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. North didn't disgrace themselves, surprisingly.
They've been okay.
Against Collingwood. Taking on the Bombers, who apparently going to play finals, according to Kane Corn. So I don't even know why we're bothering.
Can't miss the finals.
Can't miss the finals.
This is the Kane Corns who said that Tim Taranto wasn't in the best 150 players in the competition. I wonder if you saw this weekend's game where Taranto kicked 4 goals.
Is this
and got like
the same Kane Corns who said Matt Rowell has no weapons?
No weapons.
No weapons, so who had 16 contested clearances and a goal in the second half. You know what? I'm going to beat North Melbourne in this game, and that's my lock of the week.
Okay.
And it's not just blind optimism. I actually think they match up pretty well. All Essendon's best players, I think, Draper, you got Goldie, midfield matches up really well. I think, I guess the North backline's a bit suspect, and Stringer could cause them problems. I don't know who your matchup for Stringer is. Maybe Zeeble? Could he play on Stringer?
Maybe.
They're both kind of explosive.
I don't know, Stringer might be a bit tall for Zeeble, though.
Yeah, and then there's Langford, who's having it's an amazing season when they just switch a guy from defence to attack and they suddenly find out this guy can kick 5 goals a game.
Yeah, and must be also great for him. Because imagine you're playing down the back line to no reward. And honestly, no one really thinks you're a good player. And then you get to go down and play the forward line and just kick heaps of goals every week. It must be wrapped.
Who are you picking in this game?
The Bombers for me.
Okay. I'm picking North. That's my lock of the week. All right, that is our tips. I hope your team plays and well this week and wins. You can find our podcast exclusively on the Listener app. It comes out every Tuesday. We'll be back again next week with our tips. Play on, not 15.
Bye.